It is time now to bring in our State House insiders to talk politics tonight. Dave Wilson, our Republican strategist, Antoine Seawright, our Democratic strategist. We are fast approaching the November 5th election, guys, and we checked in with the state voter registration office, and they're telling us they're seeing an increased number of women registering to vote in South Carolina. Antoine, what's your take on that? Why are more women registering to vote right now?
Well, that's not uncommon or unaligned with what we're seeing trending nationally. The gender gap is becoming more and more obvious in this election. Part of it is because women issues have once again been throttled into the mainstream, top of mind, top of spirit polling issues, particularly when it comes to reproductive freedom and reproductive justice. We also know that traditionally women have outpaced men when it comes to participating in modern elections. So I'm not surprised by that number at all, particularly in a place like South Carolina, where you have a tremendous amount of growth happening in urban, rural, and suburban areas of our state.
Jared, if you actually take a look at the volume of people who have moved into South Carolina, you think about the census numbers that we've talked about before, big jumps in Horry County and in Greenville County. Those numbers just continue to rise. Plus, let's just be honest. I think the Democrats actually have a better female candidate this time than they did when it was Hillary Clinton. And that is enough to start energizing a base of voters to say, wait a minute, I think I can support this person. So it's not really surprising that we actually see an increase in a female registration in South Carolina.
But I would also respectfully say, Dave, I think part of it is because women realizes that their votes are their voices, and their voices ultimately decide their issues. And there have been a number of conversations since the 2016 election that have had direct impact on women, particularly when it comes to freedom to make their own healthcare decisions, when it comes to things like birth control, when it comes to things like contraception, and just in general, women's rights are on the line. And historically, women have always stepped up to the plate to participate when it's been known that their issues hang in the balance.
And this is a place, JR, when you take a look at statistics as they spell themselves out, if you register to vote, you are somewhere between 65 and 80% likely to show up at the next election. So this is a good thing for voter turnout. It'll be interesting to see if we can see the swell of voter turnout that we keep talking about, Antoine, wanting to see more and more people showing up at the polls.
And I would say registration does not mean participation, because three-step process is registration, four steps: registration, education, motivation, then participation. And what we've seen is we've always seen large surges in various populations across the country and in South Carolina when it comes to registration, but we lose two steps along the way. And when we get to the last step, participation, we tend to see a drop off. I do not think this election will be reflective of that, but that is what has happened in the past.
Right now, the numbers in South Carolina show about 3.3 million registered voters. 1.8 million of those are women in the state of South Carolina. Any fear among Republicans that this might not go their way come Election Day?
I don't think you're going to see the shade of red change in South Carolina very much when it comes to the presidential election. Where you may begin to see it is down the ballot. Keep in mind, we are not just looking at a presidential election between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. There are hundreds of other elections that are going to be going on down ballot, JR. Those include everything from sheriffs in some counties to county council members, every member of the South Carolina House, every member of the South Carolina Senate. There are a lot of things on the ballot, not also the least of which being a constitutional amendment to this state that says that only American citizens as South Carolinians can vote. So that's a big thing that's going to draw a lot of people in.
And I would also add that we continue to see a record number of women candidates participate in the process. Keep in mind, in the Republican preference primary, we saw 3 women lose their legislative seats in the South Carolina State Senate. And so a lot of what you see, the surge and the urge for women participation, could be a backlash or reflection upon women feeling like their voices are being lost in this process, regardless of political party. And so I do think that you will see the women voter participation surge and participate, not just because a qualified woman is on the ballot at the highest level, but I do believe that women have figured out the old Antoine Seawright adage: the closer your government is to you, the more important it is for you. And what a wonderful thing it is to see a woman on the ballot who looks like my mother, my aunt, my sister, grandparents, etc., but also someone who has direct reflective representation of what's important to communities that look like all of ours.
Antoine Seawright, Dave Wilson, guys, as always, thank you so very much.